Off the surgery table. Mouth still swollen. You gotta get this pie. Yeah, pause.
Hey, yo, all right. Well then, all right, welcome to another episode of No Pump Fakes after that outrageous statement. Speaking of surgery and getting cut up and all that, it sounds as if some teams in the National Basketball Association will be getting cut up. And it sounds as if one of those teams is in the lovely state of New York. And we are not talking about the New York Knicks. And we are not talking about the Knicks.
Man.
Kyrie Irving. Welcome.
Man.
First off, I want to say this real quick. Welcome, Kyrie. You know, if you're interested in coming to the Los Angeles Lakers, by all means, we will welcome you with open arms. It'll be a great thing to have Kyrie and LeBron back together. And then obviously
come tell the realness. Come tell you the true story of what's going on with this nonsense on No Pump Fakes as well. Like, because
you're talking to Kyrie, not me.
I'm talking to Kyrie because it's ridiculous what's going on. It's ridiculous. Like the Brooklyn Nets are putting a capital P on poverty franchise. Like it's getting scary. Like it's getting kind of crazy.
We're calling the Nets a poverty franchise. Why is
because if they lose
that's kind of soon.
No. If they lose Kyrie Irving, it's a domino effect. They lose Kyrie Irving, they lose Kevin Durant. I don't think you can ever come back from that. We may search up in a dictionary for it's like poverty franchise. I want a big ass picture of the Brooklyn Nets logo right in there because they're not going to come back for that. I'm talking about straight up lottery next 10 years. I don't care who they get back. I don't care if you get multiple first round picks. I don't care if you get decent good players. Lottery. They're a lottery team. Like it makes no sense. Like you got the two most skilled basketball players in the world on the same team. And both of them are probably about to be not in a Brooklyn Nets uniform come the 2022-23 NBA season. It makes no sense. Like it's frustrating.
But I mean, okay. The hell with the frustration. I don't care if
I live out here. I like going to watch them play. Like it's frustrating. Like now I got to go watch. Like that time you went to the Brooklyn Nets game.
No, real shit. When I went to a Brooklyn Nets game and Orlando Magic game, it was a couple of. I want to say it was around December.
December. COVID was surging.
Man, oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
Woo-wee.
Yeah.
Now it was bad. It was bad. Like the starting five, it was, shout, if you're in the NBA, congratulations, of course. But man, it was nasty.
They was calling up guys saying, like, can you play? Are you in shape?
We
need you this game.
They might as well have just walked outside of Barclays Center and just said, yo, anybody around the hoop. It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
I'm like, how dare y'all charge tickets for this shit?
Wasn't a score? Because you texted me. Wasn't a score like 69? It
was so crazy. What the hell is going on?
It was crazy.
Oh my goodness. It was bad. But it's crazy. That was just one game though.
Yeah.
They mess around, lose Kyrie and KD. That might be the damn team next year.
Yeah.
But hopefully, we get some sign and trade pop-ins and but yeah, Kyrie to the Lakers. Definitely all for it. But now, where does Kevin Durant go? Where's his new zip code? Do you think it damn sure won't be Brooklyn? Those days will be over. Goodbye. But now it would be another team for Kevin Durant.
If I was
where would you want to see Kevin Durant land?
If I was on Betway and I was a betting man and I'm saying where Kevin Durant is going to probably go for the 2020-23 NBA season. Miami Heat, go down there and play with Jimmy Butler, Pat Riley, coach are already established. You got Bam, you got a big three you can form. Like I think the Miami Heat would be that one. I always say they're kind of one. They can get to the finals, they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they get to the finals. Like a lot of things got to go right for them to win. But like if you get Kevin Durant, like that is the ultimate like piece that you need. And I just feel like it's not just about Kevin Durant. I feel like if they get like a Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine, anybody really, they just one really like piece away for being a real like they're gonna win a title in the next 3 years. But Kevin Durant makes them like, yo, really like, damn, like they can win a title next year. Like they're really here. Like,
I don't like that at
Miami.
all.
I'll say Miami.
I don't like that at all. Not KD going to Miami because Miami is a great city. But I just don't like the idea of saying like a number one seed in a conference is like one player away. Like they should have got that shit done this year.
I respect that.
If you're gonna be the number one seed in the conference, Sure,
respect
could they use another score? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
But you know that. But the
But
East
at the
was
same time, come on
to
now.
their
Come
credit
on.
though. This it's not like they was like the number one seed by a landslide. You know, the East was still the last
don't
week. It was
matter.
still. But I'm
It
saying
don't
the last
matter.
week it could have been the Boston. It could have been this team. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot.
Was it?
The East was competitive.
Was it?
The East was competitive.
Was it? Well, not was it competitive? You saying
I mean,
could have been Boston?
they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not like they got knocked out in the first round or second round. Like
Wow,
the
big
Phoenix,
subs.
like the
Big
Phoenix Suns. So at least
you're talking about the Phoenix Suns. I thought you were talking about another team in the Eastern Conference. I got you.
I was talking about the Phoenix Suns. I was talking about the Brooklyn Nets as well. But it's not like we came into like last year. Unless you were really like fan of the Miami Heat or a basketball head like me and you, we talked about the Miami Heat being like, yo, they were going to be really good before the season started. But most people wasn't picking the Miami Heat to like go to the NBA Finals, or really even probably reach like the Eastern Conference Finals, unless you really watch like Heat basketball, you watch the game. But of course, it was really no shocker with us because we looked at their defense, we looked at their players, we looked at their culture, we looked at all that stuff that they had. So it was kind of wasn't a shocker. But like most of your casual fans wasn't really expecting the Miami Heat to go as far as they did and be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So they may have overachieved a little bit.
Overachieved nonsense. Okay, so
they didn't underachieve.
That's a damn sure.
Underachieve. A team right now that's underachieving is really about to. They might as well just get comfortable with underachievement. Like they're frustrated. They're the Brooklyn Nets. Like they're mad. They're mad about how the season took and the playoffs and stuff like that with Kyrie Irving and all this back and forth of like, oh, it's Kyrie's fault because of this. At the end of the day, I remember and you remember, Kyrie wanted to play with the Brooklyn Nets on a part-time basis because of a vaccine mandate in New York City, not across the other states. This was going on in New York and I think California as well. And they was like, no, we want our players to be there full-time. We want them to, if you're going to be here, you're going to be with us full-time, or you're not going to be full-time at all. So they told Kyrie to sit your ass at home. And what did Kyrie do? He sat his ass at home. Just for him to come back close to the end of the season, it was like, you know what, Kyrie, you can play part-time. Like, we kind of need you now. So now it's just like, why are we forgetting that? Like, people are sometimes trying to blame Kyrie, but like the Brooklyn Nets could have had Kyrie Irving for most of the season if they wanted to, but they said no. So it's like now Kyrie Irving's getting all the flack. He's getting all the like, yo, Kyrie Irving, we want somebody that's going to be there for their teammates. Other than when he took the hiatus with the Capitol Hill situation, Kyrie Irving has showed up. You can't attest for injuries and say like, yo, he's injury prone and that's why he's not playing. Like Kevin Durant's been out just as much as Kyrie Irving. So that makes no sense. So other than, like I said, the Capitol Hill incident where he was like, I'm going to take a little hiatus, get my mental right and stuff like that. He showed up. You cannot blame the vaccine and what's going on in a global pandemic and a person choosing not to put something in their body and sit up and say like, yo, he's the reason why our team is not successful and we didn't reach our goals, our aspirations and stuff like that. That doesn't work because at the end of the day, everybody has their own personal decisions. So that's what I'm saying. The Brooklyn Nets, I hope Kyrie leaves because at this point, he deserves to leave because of the way they're treating him and trying to give all this blame to him. I'm not really buying that. That's kind of crazy.
Well, again, the team that he may end up going to being the Los Angeles Lakers, I think, I can't even say that they would like quote unquote need him, but he would definitely help. But now
they need somebody.
Question,
they make the playoff. They need somebody.
Well,
I get what you're saying.
It's like because then what does that do with Russ, right? And is Russ involved in that sign and trade? Because both of their contracts would look absolutely nasty, right? And I don't know if they could play what. I don't know what happens. Russ.
I don't know what happens.
Do we see a Russ and KD reunion?
No.
If that's the case, then well, how else is Kyrie going to the Lakers? Would you think it's about to be all four of them? LeBron not going anywhere. Anthony Davis not going anywhere. So what you think? Russ is just about to just vibe?
So sometimes when a situation is so awful and everybody knows that like Kyrie kind of wants to be in LA, like maybe Kyrie takes $6 million. I don't think he's going to do that. Because
takes what?
I'm just saying that $6 million. Maybe that's all the Lakers can offer him. Maybe he does that. Maybe he gets his Nike deal back.
I really a sign and trade kind of thing. But yeah,
I don't know if he's walking for free agency. That's all he can take. Or it's a sign and trade situation. Multiple teams have to be involved.
You think Kyrie's taking a pay cut like that?
No, I don't think he's taking a pay cut. I'm just saying that's the only way he would walk to the Los Angeles Lakers. Where you said it'd be 4 of them. That's the only way if he goes to the Los Angeles Lakers to be them 4.
And they keep Russ. And they keep Russ.
But other than that, like it has to be a trade with multiple teams. One, if Brooklyn Nets say they're not interested in Russell Westbrook, so no sign and trade probably is going to happen with the Los Angeles Lakers and a Kyrie Irving situation for straight up. And the reason why is because they got Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook, Ben Simmons. You got a tall version of Russell Westbrook. Exactly. You got a taller. You got a taller version already. You got a taller version already on the team. So you add Russell Westbrook, who's 6'3", basically Ben Simmons. You know, what Ben Simmons should want to be because Ben Simmons hasn't proven
anything that in your life.
Anything that Russell Westbrook has proven. But they play their game is very, very similar. That's what I'm saying. So it's just like a 3 or 4 team deal trade. Something's had to be in the works for everybody to be happy. So that's how I kind of view it.
Yeah, Russ and Ben Simmons on the same team might get a little dangerous. But I think too, if you got KD, a lot of folks, I mean, I don't know if you saw Dame's story or whatever, but KD to Portland. Because I just don't want to see KD go to yet another 1 seed team. That's all. I think realistically,
I don't do nothing. They didn't win a championship. It's just different. Like you're not.
I just don't want it. I never said I'm going to hold him accountable. I just said, no, we can have that discussion. I'm just saying what I want. Pause.
Yeah.
Feel me? If I think that because that could still be a championship team, right? KD and Dame is probably very similar to what we just saw with KD and Kyrie.
It's not,
but at least
doesn't move at all. It doesn't move the needle at all. Dame and KD doesn't move the needle at all.
I'm saying so.
Doesn't move the needle at all.
So. Do you feel like there's a huge gap between Dame and Kyrie or something? Because if you sit here saying that Kyrie and KD can win a championship, but Dame and KD ain't moving the needle, what exactly are we saying about Dame here?
I'm saying that one team will have a trio of Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, and Kyrie Irving, and one would have a duo of Damian Lillard and Kevin Durant, and nobody else. Like it doesn't move the needle at all. It doesn't. I know, and it may sound harsh, but it doesn't. Let's look. Golden State's still better. A healthy Denver Nuggets team to me is probably still better than them. Who else? The Los Angeles Clippers still better, healthy-wise. We just assume everybody's healthy. Those are 3 teams right there. The Phoenix Suns, if they keep Aiden, still better than them. It's just like that. That's 4 teams right off back that I'm locking in. That's better than a duo of Dame and KD.
Let's hear it for our show partners at Betway. Time to get in on the action. The NBA Finals are done, but you can still take home some serious winnings in other sports. From building your own parlays to Betway Boost, show off your expertise with each wager and make every game feel as exciting as Game 7. We love using their app as our one-stop shop for everything sports betting. Download the app or visit betway.com today. Let's get it. Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or Virginia. Parlays and boosters available on certain selections only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
That's just me personally.
Okay. So here's the thing. Of those 4 teams, do you think that all 4 of those teams are beating the Net or beating the Trailblazers with a KD and Dame tandem in the 7-game series?
Yes, I do.
I do not think the Denver Nuggets nor the Phoenix Suns are beating a team of
I do.
Damian Lillard and Kevin Durant in the playoffs. I don't think that. I do not think that at all.
I think so.
Especially what we just saw from Phoenix against Dallas.
That's true. That's true.
You saw what Luka did.
That's true.
So imagine what Kevin Durant is doing.
It's hard to put a team around like players and win the first season that a duo is created or a trio is created. We all know that. Like it's a rarity it's a success. Like we saw the Boston Celtics do it when they formed their first big 3. And then we saw like Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant join forces, and that kind of worked. But that was kind of like an already made intact team. But you're putting Dame and you're putting Kevin Durant there together, and it's just kind of like I don't know how that roster is going to like fill out for me to feel comfortable with them beating a healthy Clippers team, a healthy Golden State Warriors team, a healthy Phoenix Suns team, and a healthy Denver Nuggets team, a team that has chemistry, a team that when healthy, those 4 teams have like a continuity together. Like it'd be difficult for me to see that. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah,
talent wise, for duo purposes, you can make a legit argument that for dual purposes, like KD and Dame, like they're the better duo, and they should be able to beat those guys because in basketball, sometimes we have the two better players in the series, you tend to win. I don't even know if they probably beat Memphis. But that's
They're beating Memphis.
They probably beat Memphis, yeah. So those 4 teams for sure. Those 4 teams for sure.
And shout out to Memphis though. Shout out to Memphis, team for the dogs. But I like KD and Dame in that situation. But I mean, though, it could also be a very similar situation to hell, the team KD's on now. You know how
True.
You start off with a duo and then you add another superstar. It's tough to want to go to Portland now, but you give a team with Dame as well as Kevin Durant, the location ain't as relevant as you might think. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, this is the beauty of it.
Nobody's going to Portland. It's a whole lot of teams.
I think a starving superstar who needs a championship would do it with. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'd have to.
Who's a starving superstar? Because Kevin Durant ain't starving.
That needs a ring. I wasn't. No. I meant that needs a ring. I'm saying Dame. I'm saying to join Dame and KD. I'm not referencing to Kevin Durant. I'm saying if Dame and KD are already in, there we go. I have a name. If Dame and KD are both in Portland, I could see Bradley Beal wanting to go to Portland. I could see it that Brad say, you know what else is.
Brad ain't uprooting his family in DC to go play in Portland, championship or not. Brad is about that paper. Brad, why don't you do that? Because then you can force your way and sign a max deal, and then force your way to go somewhere down like in South Beach. Why the hell would you go all the way out to Portland
to win
especially
basketball
to play the
games?
Third option.
To win basketball games. What do we? What? To win
he can win basketball game. He can win basketball games playing with the Miami Heat over the Portland Trail Blazers.
I was about to say, I don't know about in the district. But I mean, so all right. So if you were Brad, which one? Money aside, just for the sake of this conversation, would you rather join the Heat?
Miami Heat.
Then why is that?
Miami Heat. No state taxes in Florida. No state taxes in Florida. You in Miami.
First thing I said was money aside.
Well, okay, fine. Weather. Like family. Like where do your family want to be? Like, your family want to be in Portland, or you want to be
basketball? From an X and an O standpoint,
it's a lot of things that you gotta understand. This like
you just popped like 4 times. Shot clock violation. My goodness.
Basketball is very important, but like in order to be a great basketball player, you need sleep. You need rest. you need comfortability. You need a lot of things. You need a lot of things to go right
basketball
for you to focus on that court. It ain't just and let me tell you something. Location matters. I'm telling you something. I will be a better basketball player playing in a location that I want to be in for half the year than sit up playing in Portland or Detroit or Oklahoma City. I'm sorry.
You in OKC.
I'm sorry. That's just me, though, this.
Hey,
that's just me.
Of course.
All right, let's get serious. For a basketball standpoint, I still say that Bradley Beal, if he had to pick going to the Portland Trail Blazers or Miami, I would still pick him going to Miami to be a better basketball situation because one, you're going into an already established like unit. Like they're not giving up Jimmy, they're not giving up Bam. So you're still gonna have like this core there. You go to play with the Portland Trail Blazers, yeah, you go play with Kevin Durant, you go play with Dame, but it's just like they gotta establish out the entire roster. They're not gonna have to do that with Miami. Plus, you got a Hall of Fame head coach, you got a Hall of Fame GM, and you got an established culture down there. So it's just like for a winning right now standpoint and for a basketball culture standpoint and also like defense, because we love to talk about offense so much, but because you always say defense in the playoffs matters the most. Defense and rebounding and half court offensive shot making ability. Those 3 things are the most important aspect when we talk about playoff basketball. And the Miami Heat will have all that, especially that last point with Bradley Beal. So my thing about it is just like, and he doesn't have to play the third option because we know in the regular season, Jimmy Butler is not a top 10 player in the regular season. We know that. Like Jimmy Butler's just doing what he has to do, getting ready for the playoffs. But in the regular season, Bradley Beal will still get to feel like, yo, like this is kind of like his team. Like he's run the show offensively. He's scoring all the points and doing all these great things. In the playoffs as well, he can play that phenomenal duo with Jimmy Butler and Bradley Beal. Sometimes it's gonna be Bradley Beal's night, sometimes it's gonna be Jimmy Butler's night, but he's not playing that third fiddle role like he would be with the Portland Trailblazers. So that's my basketball analysis for you.
You're saying it like you're doing me a favor. Like it's not a basketball podcast. Man said I had to beg you for a basketball answer.
Because you get
talking about the damn weather.
Comfortability matters. Comfortability matters.
I asked you if Bradley Beal should want to go play with Kevin Durant and Dame or Jimmy Butler and Bam. And the first thing that you mentioned was the weather. What in the hell are we doing?
Yes, because I mentioned location because I know.
You think this man is going somewhere because of the breeze and the 305? Come on. What are we doing?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because people are humans. People are human. It's a reason why. It's a reason why those teams don't get nobody. It ain't because of the players that be having. Dame is a hell of a basketball player.
It's a combination, though, bro. It's a combination. It's a combination because I guarantee you, if a team like well, now that's not a good example. I'll say if Wade was on like the damn if Wade was on the Bucks, right? Would Bron have gone?
Hell no.
And left Cleveland?
Hell no. He could have stayed in Cleveland. Ain't shit to do out of Cleveland. What you gonna go to Milwaukee for? Even more shittier place. Hell no. Like, no. A friendship, loyalty or not. Like, bro, I'm telling you, like, it's a reason why some of these organizations tend to struggle compared to more. And that's another reason why it's no excuses for when you're in a prime location, like you always say. Like, it's really no excuses for, like, we talked about Luka Doncic all the time, for players not wanting to go play in Dallas with Luka. Like, you're in Dallas. You're not in damn Minnesota. Like, you expect, like, free agents should want to go play in Dallas with you, Luka. Like, what's going on? So,
okay, you shouted out a player. I'll shout out an organization, the New York Knicks.
Yeah,
you know, you got the greatest city in the world, the greatest arena in the world, the greatest, hate to say it, fan base in the world.
Yeah,
it should be a cakewalk.
Marketing, money.
Like, like, come on.
It's embarrassing. And speaking of Knicks, we might as well get on another poverty franchise because it looks like Brooklyn Nets about to be joining their older cousin or older brother, whatever you want to call it.
Just getting hit, man.
Whatever you want to call it. But you got potentially Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Delonte Murray, like all these three players potentially may be on the move this summer, and like go do something. And Jalen Brunson is an excellent player, great young player. But it's just like, that's who you striving for? Like, you got all-star caliber players, and like, you're not trying to swing for the fences to go try to get none of those guys, and you're at the Mecca, you're at the Garden, you know, like, what? It's something wrong with that front office. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's something wrong with that front office. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it just sucks because, I hate to say it, as much as I like the Knicks struggling, the NBA and basketball in general is better when the New York Knicks are thriving, just like when the Los Angeles Lakers are thriving, just like when the Boston Celtics are thriving. It's just better. It's just like the atmosphere is better. The competition is better. Like the fan craziness is better. All that stuff is better. But it's just like, if you're the Knicks, like you said, it's like, damn, like we can't get nobody in free agency. And then we got superstar disgruntled players that probably want to be traded. Or not even, they don't have to be disgruntled, but like want to be traded or probably going to be traded elsewhere. We're hearing all these trade rumors. It's just like, you're not swinging the fences to get one of these guys? Like, come on. Like, it's nasty. Nasty
It's
work.
embarrassing.
Nasty
It's
work.
embarrassing. I mean, I would say it could be worse, but I mean, you know, we've been experiencing. I mean, I know they just recently made the playoffs, of course, so shout out to them. But I mean, was it random? Was it an anomaly? Was it you know? Are they heading back
They had
in the right direction?
It was the first time they made the playoffs was 2 years ago. That was the first time. And what are they like? In the past 10 years, they made it once or some shit like that. Hell yeah, it's an anomaly. What are you asking? You're talking about like it's normal. Like, that's the first time in 10 years. Like, one time in 10 years? Come on now. Let's be real. But I got to do this. Would you rather this player or that player heading into the 2020-23 NBA season? Now, last podcast, you was like kind of confused. The player the player we talking about. This is Kyrie Irving edition. I'm gonna name a player. Would you rather have him over Kyrie? Yes or no? First one, James Harden.
Damn.
James Harden or Kyrie. You could do bullet. We could just go. We could do quick, or you could then give your analysis afterwards.
I'm thinking, because it's. I don't even know. Man, that if you'd asked me this like 2-3 years ago, it would have been. Damn.
Would you rather have Kyrie Irving edition, James Harden or Kyrie?
James Harden.
James Harden. Delonte Murray. Pick.
Kyrie Irving.
Chris Paul.
Kyrie Irving.
Jamal Murray.
Kyrie Irving.
Russell Westbrook.
Kyrie Irving.
Damian Lillard. What we know right now, if everything is going on.
I know. Not all the answers gonna be immediate. Damn. Dame.
So why Dame and James Harden? Because you picked those two over Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, both of them were tough, and the only reason why I was hesitant with the James part is because I'm not sure the basketball player that James Harden is right now. And I know that sounds rough, but it's not Houston James Harden, right? And so I think you've mentioned this before, just like, are we seeing like a Steve Nash kind of thing where he's trying to, get like 20 and 10s as opposed to, trying to get 30 every game? And it's like, cool, you know what I'm saying? He's still a great basketball player, ain't taking anything away from him, but like, that's not the MVP James Harden, right? That's not the James that we know can go off for like 30-point triple doubles and all of that. And obviously, with Philly having, in my opinion, an early exit. But even still, though, I think you can make the case, unfortunately, too, with Kyrie that there is some sort of uncertainty, right? I still think that Kyrie is a fantastic ball player, and any other 30 teams would be lucky to have him. And when he's out there, I mean, he's him. But there are some question marks for some people. It's like, all right, because we always say, right, your best ability, right, is your availability.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't even matter how great of a player you are if you're not playing. And again, the reason doesn't always matter, right? So you mentioned the injuries, the vaccine situation, other off-court issues. And again, by all means, he's still a human being at the end of the day. But if he's not on the court, like as a person, I feel for him. But if you're asking me just from a straight-up basketball, who would I rather have? Who can I trust? Who do I feel like is going to be there? I mean, love Kyrie, but if I had to choose between him or Dame, I feel like Dame, again, we joke about Dame's loyalty. We joke about, should Dame leave? But Dame gonna play.
Yeah,
right. Like if there's one thing that we can probably say about him,
for that,
Dame gonna be there.
That's real.
You feel me? You don't gotta think
but
twice.
For that analysis, you should have picked everybody over Kyrie, though.
No, not necessarily. Because with Jamal, Jamal is fresh off an injury.
True.
DeJounte, very good basketball player. Love what he's doing in San Antonio, but he's not, nor has he ever been on the same level as Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, with the Kyrie and Dame,
what about Russell Westbrook? Because Russell Westbrook, contrary to popularity, Russell Westbrook shows up on a nightly basis, gives his all 100%, whether you like it, you don't like it, and it's just a lot of like people kind of like talked a lot of shit about Russell Westbrook this past year, but last time I checked, Russell Westbrook signed up to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, not be solo, because that's what it seemed like the entire year. He was by himself the entire year.
Very true, but unfortunately, it's very similar to the James Harden situation. This isn't the same Russ that we've been accustomed to seeing. So at least with the Kyrie versus Dame, I went with Dame not just because of the availability, but at least we know that Dame is still Dame, right? Again, love Russ, one of my favorite players in the league, but it's not a secret that he's not MVP Russ right now. And that doesn't mean that I don't think he can be, an important player on a championship team. But like, it'll be one thing if we talking, a few years ago or whatever. But I mean, yeah, he's definitely available. And again, Russ is going to show up. We know that, regardless of stats or who else is on his team, he's going to play. And I do respect that. But if I had to, and plus too, we talking about Kyrie. So it ain't like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you throwing out a name that
Kyrie, if you would have asked me this, it would have been Kyrie. So I'm asking you because I don't know what I answer the question, but I would have been Kyrie for all of them.
I want to say 5.
I would have said
for 5,
and that's how confidence And that's how confident I am in Kyrie and his basketball ability when he's on the basketball court. And I can say that all the outside noise and everything, all these GMs and trade rumors and all this stuff, we just listed off 5 basketball players, and out of those 5, it was only 2 that you would take over Kyrie. And to me, I would have took over all 5 because I know at the end of the day, on the basketball court, give me Kyrie over those guys because one, I've seen Kyrie Irving do it at the highest level. None of those guys listed have done it at the highest level. And number 2, especially if he's playing in a new situation with LeBron James, I took that into account. I'm just like, last time I saw Kyrie Irving with LeBron James, he was playing his best basketball ever. So I took all that into account as well. And also just from like a more like talent and skill set point, I just feel like with Kyrie Irving, he's more difficult to like guard than all those guys when it matters the most, especially in the playoffs. So I'm taking all that into account, even with everybody and all these things that people are saying. Like, if I had to pick and run down my list, James Harden, I'm picking Kyrie. Dejounte Murray, picking Kyrie. Chris Paul, picking Kyrie. Jamal Murray, picking Kyrie. Russell Westbrook and Dame, picking Kyrie. So
The Chris Paul one is kind of tough too, though. I mean, I went with Kyrie, but the Chris Paul one is kind of tough. I mean, I know everyone will mention the age, but at least
it ain't tough.
he's
It ain't that tough. It ain't that tough after watching.
But okay, but see, that's it.
Playoff
I think it sounds like you're looking at it from a straight up like, all right, if I know for 110% fact that Kyrie Irving is going to play right now,
I told you
game,
no. Before
then I would go him.
Well, I said for everything that we know right now. I didn't say like fully healthy. I'm talking about right now, as we know that all this stuff that's going on right now. Kyrie Irving, I'm talking about even still right now. Who are you picking? I'm still
going into the season. To go into
the season. Out of all this stuff right now, those 6 players, because I said it was 5, it was 6 actually. I'm still picking Kyrie Irving over all those guys with everything I know right now. Let's take a minute to shout out our show sponsors at Betway. The finals are done, but shout out to Betway, which had me right and made me some money in the finals as Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors took home their 4th NBA championship. Download the app or visit betway.com right now. Lock in on your wagers. Let's go. Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania or Virginia. Parlays and boosters available on certain selections only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, to me, the two Murrays. I mean, it wasn't even a thought. It was no hesitation on those. Just because, like I said, there's levels, and Jamal has definitely spazzed, and Dejounte has had one hell of a season. But to reach Kyrie Irving status, I need to see a little bit more from those two. Which again, Kyrie has set the bar very high, so that's why I'm able to say that. But I mean, Chris Paul. I mean, you add another year onto his career. James, and the thing with James Harden, he hasn't been in this long of a slump, so that's why it's not like Houston James Harden was 7 years ago. So that was part of the reason why too. I felt like, okay, I'm still gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he can come out this season and change everything, right? Or maybe get back to the old James. Russ, we've seen unfortunately the way he's been treated over the last couple of years with the Wizards and the Rockets, and even now being talked about to be trained to yet another team. And so some of that didn't play into like my reason for it, but that also has something to do with it. Like, you're not just about to trade away someone who's been producing at an OD high level over and over and over again. So, but yeah, I mean, I hope all of them can return back. Literally, because you just named every last one of them, probably except for DeJounte.
Except for
you know what I'm saying? It's crazy because you can make the case that just talent and achievement wise, he's probably at the bottom of that list.
Mm-hmm.
But like based off this season, he's probably the only one that hasn't, came up off like a damn. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about injuries, having a rough season, trade talk, he's the only safe one. But even still, he had a great season, but it's a big boys league, and I definitely think he can still continue to do it. But we talking about guys that have done it for years, and I'll give the benefit of the doubt.
And I don't put too much stock in what's going on with Russell Westbrook, really, because if anytime you go to a new situation and people, it's kind of like all the stuff I talked about, like with Kyrie Irving, and nobody's talking about. It's a lot of stuff with Russell Westbrook. Everybody's trade Russ. I get it. I understand he didn't have that great of last season with the Los Angeles Lakers in his first year. I understand it for a contract standpoint, for a play style standpoint, but like if you go into like the season, we talked about this for so many podcasts with Los Angeles Lakers. You can't just drop Russ in and say like Russ, all right, figure it out, and not make no changes around him with his play style paired next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So it's just like that has to play an account. Like Russell Westbrook, I'm sure if he gets traded and let's say he goes to the Charlotte Hornets, or let's say he goes to back to the Oklahoma City Thunder, I don't know, like one of these two teams, because those are the two teams that have been kind of like rumored to like, and Houston Rockets has been rumored to like will take on and absorb his contract if they get like, draft picks and stuff like that. Let's say that happens. We go into the season, he dominates. He averaging anywhere between 20 to 24 points to 6 to 8 assists to 6 to 8 rebounds. We're talking probably like 24, 6 and 8 or 24, 8 and 8. Everybody's talking about Russ is back. That's what they're gonna be saying. Russ is back. And I'm gonna be like, he never really went anywhere. It was more so like, just a team situation that wasn't really best for him.
So here's the sad and unfortunate part that I think people are starting to realize is that Russ is still a great and fantastic ball player, right? But can he be the best player on a championship team? So it's almost
No,
as
he
if
was
like,
never. He was really never. He never was that though.
right. But I'm saying though, and that's the sad part. He's going to be one of those players that like you always want to get a ring, but like in order for that to happen, he may have to be the third option. But if he's not even good at being a third option, then it's like, well, damn. When he's a number one option, he plays well and has stats, but he's not winning. But when he's a third option, he's not playing that well and on a team that may have championship expectations. So realistically, it's almost like he's too good to be on some teams, but he's not bad enough to be on. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's like he's in a very unfortunate spot.
I would understand that if the situation was different with the Los Angeles Lakers, and going to that situation, I saw them actually really have a real offense. I saw LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Russ actually be on the court together in the regular season when it matters the most. I didn't see none of that. So I can't really sit up and say that even though Russell Westbrook was going into a new situation with being the third option for the first time in his career, I can't really sit up and say that he can't do that, especially when the two guys wasn't playing the most. The two guys that he was supposed to defer to wasn't around the most. Like, it was Russell Westbrook playing most of the games with either LeBron James and then Anthony Davis, and LeBron was out and Anthony Davis was out. So it was Russell Westbrook had to figure out like, they want me to be the third option, but I'm the only one here. Really, I need the ball in my hand. I need to be the second option. Man. I need to be I'm being the first option sometimes. So it's just kind of like that was the case with that situation.
But you know what, though? I can't even completely hear that because it's very similar to when you talked about James Harden, right? When James Harden went to Brooklyn, he went there with the expectation of like, damn, I thought I was going to have to facilitate, or I thought, I would, be able to rely on KD and Kyrie. While those statements are very true, you don't get to be James Harden and get paid, or Russell Westbrook and get paid these nasty-ass contracts. And then when you're, given the opportunity to run a ball club, even at this stage in your career, it's like, well, this wasn't what I was expecting. I don't want to hear that. You are getting paid this shit ton of money for a reason. Get the job done or be prepared for the criticism. And it's that simple. It really, really is. Now, again, I understand it. It might be frustrating, but hey, get it done. Because you don't, like, your contract not about to change just because, you know what I'm saying, shit not the way you plan.
If that's the case, because what I'm not seeing right now, and LeBron James is one of my favorite players all the time. LeBron James played phenomenally. He was 30 points and stuff like that. But it's just like, I don't consider that getting the job done. Incredible stats, especially when your team not going to the playoffs, especially if you're not being on the court. So it's the same thing with Russell Westbrook. He's just like,
that's
of course,
not,
Russell.
I don't know.
Because Russell Westbrook may have played bad some games, but it was just kind of like he was still showed up. Like you just said about Kyrie, availability matters. LeBron James wasn't available for most of the year.
Okay.
So it's just like, what do you expect? What do you expect a player to do when you come into a new situation as a third option and the people that you're supposed to be deferring to aren't there, and then they don't even run an offense that's, suited to your strengths, and then they expect you to be the third option, but then they expect you to be the first option because these two players are not, like, nothing was really like benefited Russ the entire season. Offensively, like for a coaching standpoint, for like being with LeBron, being with Anthony Davis, not being on the court, nothing really like benefited Russell Westbrook that entire season. Sure, he did have moments where he played really, really bad. That is true. But at the same time, it's just like, we can't sit up and pretend like it was a lot of shit. It was like a domino effect. Like, him playing bad, it's just like, it was also because like a lot of factors took place. It wasn't like It was a new offense. It's not like they gave Russell Westbrook the ball. He was playing off the ball. Anthony Davis was there. LeBron James was there. There was no, chemistry. It was a lot of things that came into like play that nobody is talking about. That's all I'm saying. Especially if you want to blame Russ only. Because he's not doing that to LeBron. Nobody's saying like, and LeBron James, it's the guy there.
But that's, and one, LeBron isn't a media darling. So the only reason why I'm saying that is because at the end of the day, the point that I think that you're not acknowledging is the fact that LeBron played well, right? So even though availability is important, and LeBron missed some games and all that, at least when he was on the court, he played well. I unfortunately, I don't like saying this, but you can't really say the same with Russ. So even though he showed up, he was there, and even though, to your point too, he didn't have the right system, the right coaching, the right fit, and all that, at the end of the day, you are getting paid a shit ton of money to get a job done. Now, again, it's always a two-way street, right? Like, you can't just randomly insert a player and then just expect them to be great and just, have 40-point triple-doubles and all that, whatever. But at the same time, I don't think it's wrong for Laker fans, Laker organization, whatever, to have some sort of expectations, to have some sort of like, shit, can we get a little bit more?
A little bit. I mean, he came into the season playing the third option role as the first time in his career. He averaged 19, 7, and 7, and shot 45% for the field. Sure, it was moments in games he played bad. But if I'm looking at that stat line, that looks like a great-ass third option. Especially when that's what you came to do. Especially when you came into a situation where they're not giving you the ball. He didn't have the ball in his hands, which, okay, if he's not a great shooter, Russell Westbrook got to have the ball in his hands. And then LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the two guys he's supposed to be deferring to, is not on the court. They're not available for 3/4, really 4/5, 80% of the season, damn near. So it's just like, damn. Like, did you want him to go and be OKC Russ? He's clearly not that. That's like saying they expected like James Harden to be Houston James. They're clearly not that anymore. Yes, they have declined, but they're still great basketball players. And they came in with a new role, and they kind of like was doing their role, but everybody's accustomed to like, well, he's not MVP Russ, he's not MVP Harden. But let's not talk about LeBron and AD not being there. Let's not talk about Kyrie or James Harden being there. That all happened.
Well, to be very, very clear, I know we're talking about Russ right now, but I've been very consistent. The whole team is to blame. I have never, not one time, pointed out and made Russ the one blame. Like, oh, everybody else is playing well. Russ was just out there wilding. No, the whole team from top to bottom, GM, coach, bench players, everybody should be to blame. It is not just one individual. But if we're talking about Russ, I would do the same thing if we were talking about LeBron versus Giannis or AD versus whoever the hell his counter versus Embiid. At the end of the day, every single Laker should be held accountable. Whether you want to talk about availability, X's and O's, everybody. I'm like that from the top to the bottom. There's no way. And I'm not even trying to make this about money, but at the same time, there's no way that you are given this contract, even if you already had it, right? You can't sit here and expect to, have all the recognition and the clout and all that, and then play terribly and then be surprised when people say something. It's very similar to Ben Simmons. We can sit here and say everything we want about fit, but we are not talking about mints. This is the NBA. All right, so I'm not going to apologize for having high expectations for these type of ball players. Get the job done. And again, mind you, I'm not even sitting here having expectations of the Lakers winning a chip. I have never said that Russ should be having MVP numbers. I have never said that LeBron should, do all this crazy shit. I have never said that AD should come out and prove that he's better than Jokic. But damn, you mean to tell me that trio came and make the damn play-in game, injuries or not? Because the thing is, people are saying that the Lakers, the system didn't work or they weren't able to play well. Let's be very clear, all right? They still played some games together, right? They were like, it ain't like, all right, they were all isolated on different teams and then they just randomly came together. They were still on the same squad. And so when you look at when you look at the teams that were ahead of them, come on now.
That's true.
Like, come on. Yeah, ain't nobody get upset that you weren't better than the Suns.
That's true.
Ain't nobody throwing no damn temper tantrum that you weren't better than the damn Mavs. But you can't make the play-in? The damn Pelicans made it. Like, and to me, again, it's not a Russ thing. It's not a LeBron thing. It's not an AD thing. It's not a Frank Vogel thing. It is a Los Angeles Lakers thing that more people need to sit here and say, if you want to sit here and blame Russ, cool. But make sure there's a comma. Say it was Russ, Bron, AD, Frank, everybody. It was the entire roster. And I'm sure, I'm like, as an individual, if it were me, if I were Russ, I would be okay with that. If someone said, you know what, hey,
But that's not what's going on,
Yo,
though. And that's
right,
why I'm saying what the things I'm saying.
Of course.
That's not what's going on. They're just
and
like,
of course,
Russell Westbrook, we need to trade Russell Westbrook. But I look like, damn, it's just like, even with the Kyrie Irving situation, Lakers fans talk about Anthony Davis not being available, but like the past like 3 years, Kyrie Irving's missed more games than Anthony Davis. But it's just like, that's what I'm saying. You can't pick
that doesn't make me excited.
I know this makes you excited.
Because you know what's funny? Now, if anything, oh my goodness, now that I think about it, let's work backwards. Because now, oh my goodness, we might have two of the most skilled and generational type talents we've ever, like, in the league right now. I'm not even talking about LeBron. I'm talking about AD and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Like, versatile, skill, all that. You know, Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving being on the same exact team is scary. And then you add in the fact that they might not even be the best player on the team makes it even more scary. But at the same time, all three of those guys, when we talk about availability, it ain't really like that. Well, you know, but I'm saying that for LeBron because anytime you add another year, we all know LeBron is a damn machine, but he's also a human being. And it's knocking. Whether, you know, we want to accept it or not, it's knocking. And so you got three guys who, yes, talent-wise, if it's a best of 7 in the playoffs, sure, let's get active. But damn, what's the total number of games we think they're going to play? Now, again, I hope they play all 82. I hope they play as many games in the playoffs. But realistically, time has shown us. History has shown us. It ain't looking like
I just brought that point about AD and just in case if Kyrie comes to Los Angeles Lakers, because that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like we talk about one player. It's like what happened is it's just like LeBron and then, you know, Anthony Davis. Everybody's talking about Anthony Davis. And then Russell Westbrook came on and that kind of shielded Anthony Davis. Like, I mean, we talk about Russell Westbrook now, like, blame and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like, that's all I'm saying. It's like, what if Russell Westbrook leaves and then, you know, whatever happens, it's like, what you gonna say now? You know what I'm saying? What's gonna be the excuse now? Because don't let Kyrie Irving, because we were shocked that they didn't make the playoffs with Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. Don't let Kyrie Irving come and this shit still don't work. It's just like, because before in our minds, that wasn't even a thought. But now, I don't put past, we saw the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden, Kyrie Irving.
That's why.
You know, I don't put it past nothing no more.
Look, I'd be happy to have Kyrie on the Lakers for the show. Right, I'm gonna relax on my playoff predictions and whatnot. Both sides done disappointed me this damn year. Get my damn hopes up for seeing the greatest on paper team of all time and not even winning a damn playoff game. And then we got another team who arguably got, you know, you got four top 75 players of all time. I mean, I know, you know, for me, all love for Melo and at the tail end of his career, but still, shit, not even getting one making the play-in tournament. So I'm gonna wait. Till for now on. And this season has taught me a lot. You know, don't get excited over 2K teams. You know, don't get excited over teams that might feel good.
So what you're saying is you're not going on Betway and making a bet, or even if the Lakers get Kyrie Irving and then Kevin Durant goes to a championship team and a big 3 or a big 2, you still not making a bet.
We gonna have to regroup. We gonna have to regroup. I'm gonna look more on the teams that have proven it. The Milwaukees of the world. Hell, I even throw Phoenix in there for right now. The Warriors. Y'all done it before. Y'all got the same team. Y'all did not fold. And it wasn't based off injuries either. Y'all, you feel me? It is what it is. But from now on, when I see a new damn roster, hell, I'll even wait to watch some damn preseason games before I get active and say, okay, nope. Y'all tricked me once. You got me. You know, I've been bamboozled. But, the game is game. But yeah, y'all, housekeeping items before we slide, let y'all go. You already know what to do. Subscribe to No Pump Fakes wherever you get your podcasts, all right? Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify. And of course, subscribe to No Pump Fakes on YouTube, y'all. All right? And just like that, we gone. Peace.
It's your boy, AK Smith, also known as AK. Make sure you guys go follow No Pump Fakes wherever you get your podcasts.